Hello fellow book lovers, my name is Giselle and welcome to the Adventures of Giz. Today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favourite characters from Harry Potter. So I am obviously a big Harry Potter fan, which means that I know everything there is to know about these characters, especially as we count down to my top favourite ones. And some of them have really interesting backstories written for them on Pottermore, and I will mention them when we get to those. But I just want to say, I hope you enjoy this. Sitting at number 10, we have our favourite resident house elf, which is Dobby. Dobby is just always looking out for Harry Potter, and there is not much Dobby wouldn't do to protect Harry and his friends. We first see Dobby in Chamber of Secrets as he tries to stop Harry from going back to Hogwarts in order to save Harry's life. Harry already attracts enough trouble on his own. Dobby just added so much trouble to his life that year. But as we see the series progress, Dobby just becomes more loving, more loyal, and just this amazing character. Sitting at number 9, I was stuck between Luna Lovegood and Ginny Weasley. At first I was going to do Luna Lovegood because who doesn't love Luna Lovegood? But after much deliberation, I have decided Ginny Weasley is actually sitting at my number 9 just because Ginny is this badass, amazing character, and very often she is not portrayed as such in the movies, because in the books she's so good at hexing people. She is just hilariously funny, and sometimes I just want to hug her and be like, you are an amazing character. Ginny is the youngest of 6 boys, which explains a lot, especially considering that as much as she is the youngest, she is also sometimes overlooked with things. Being the only girl in the family must be really difficult, but from this we see she does quite a few things on her own. She just becomes this independent young woman, and it is just an amazing character growth. Sitting at number 8, we have our favourite duo, and that is Fred and George Weasley. These two troublemakers just add so much fun to the series. We see them constantly just causing havoc at Hogwarts, and even afterwards we see quite a lot of character growth on their behalf. Even though they're often these pranksters, they also have this deep side, which we start seeing in the 6th and 7th book. There is quite a lot about them that I just adore, and I just love them as their little duo act that they play throughout the series. Sitting at number 7, we have Albus Dumbledore. So I know Dumbledore's a little bit low on my list compared to what it might be on others, or some people might not even put him on here at all, but I'm just going to say that Dumbledore, as much as he does a lot of things I don't agree with, he is still a great character. He is fiercely loyal, and he is always doing what he believes is right for Harry and for those people around him. Now, Dumbledore's story is one of the most interesting things we come across in the series. We also see a little bit of Voldemort's backstory in Half-Blood Prince, but Voldemort's backstory does not compare to the amazing backstory of Albus Dumbledore, which we find out in Deathly Hallows. We see it through Rita Skeeter's book called Life and Lives of Albus Dumbledore, and even though we still have to be skeptical about what Rita Skeeter writes, we can admit that Dumbledore has a really interesting backstory. Thank goodness for Fantastic Beasts, because I'm really happy that we get to see a little bit more of Dumbledore and his backstory, and can I just say Newt Scamander's amazing. Sitting at number 6, we have Sirius Black. Now, Sirius is this very interesting, dark character which adds quite a contrast to a lot of the other characters in the book. Sirius he's been through quite a lot in his life, and he's lost his best friend. He wasn't able to see his godson for 12 years because he was wrongfully imprisoned in Azkaban, which is said to be the most dreaded place in the wizarding world. So I think Sirius has just had a hard time in life, and I am a sucker for the broody, broken man. So I just want to hug Sirius and I adore him as a character. I think my perspective of Sirius has been a little bit skewed because of fanfiction. The first fanfiction I read about the wizarding world was about Sirius and his time at Hogwarts with James and Lily and Remus, obviously. And I must say it was just such an amazing story because it is so accurate to Sirius's personality. I could 100% see him doing all the things he does in that. And it was called The Fifth Marauder, and in it he has this love interest, and she dies quite young when they're still at Hogwarts. And later on, when he falls through the veil at the end of Order of the Phoenix, she is waiting for him on the other side. And it was just an amazing, beautiful story. And sometimes when I am reading or watching Harry Potter and that scene with Sirius's death comes, I always just have this feeling, and I just really hope that James and Lily and some love interest is waiting for him on the other side. I'm such a sucker for romance. Sitting at number 5, we have Hagrid, and I just adore Hagrid because he is just so kind and loving. And there's a great quote from Fantastic Beasts which Lisa says to Newt, and she tells Newt that he's never met a monster he couldn't love. And this just resonated with me, especially because it just related so deeply to Hagrid as well, and I just see this love for animals which both of those characters have. And Hagrid is just always trying to do his best, and he is fiercely loyal, and he is just an amazing, amazing character. Sitting at number 4, we have the badass Minerva McGonagall, and as much as she has her strict moments, she also is hilariously funny, she is sassy, and she is just a badass in general. Minerva McGonagall has a whole history written up for her on Pottermore, and when I was reading it, I just loved the background story that we got for her. It is just so interesting, and it just explains so much about her personality, and if you haven't read it, definitely go check it out. It is just beautiful, and I just love Minerva McGonagall. Sitting at number 3, we have one of my favorite characters from Harry Potter. Often I say he is my favorite character, but it changes every now and then, and that is Remus Lupin. Now, Lupin has also an amazing backstory written for him on Pottermore, even though we get to see quite a lot of his backstory in Harry Potter. He has this tragic story about being bitten by a werewolf when he was younger, and just him growing up with this thing that wizards kind of detest and fear so much that they stay away from him, they don't want to be near him. And I just love that Remus, Sirius, James, and Peter Pettigrew were able to be friends in high school, and they did not care that he was a werewolf. Instead, they just found such a loving friendship within their little group, and it was just such a beautiful story, side story slipped into Harry Potter. So definitely go and check out his backstory. You find out quite a lot about him, and I just love Remus Lupin. Sitting at number 2, we have the namesake for the series, and that is Harry Potter. Harry is not my number 1 because I actually almost forgot him off of this list until I really was thinking about it, and I was like, wow, but Harry is one of my favorite characters because he is so sassy and he is just funny. And even though the series follows him and we often get to see the perspective of the other people around him, sometimes we forget that Harry is just a teenage boy, and we just have to accept that Harry makes mistakes, and sometimes I just want to scream at him through the pages. But obviously every single one of Harry's mistakes and lessons learned lead to him being the person that he becomes. I have a couple of honorable mentions before we get to my number 1, and my first honorable mention is Ron Weasley. Yes, Ron is not on my top 10 favorites list because he really does not click with me as a character. I don't really connect with him, and that's okay. I don't have to connect with every single character in Harry Potter. I just think that he's still an amazing character. He has a great character arc in the series, so I did want to put him on my honorable mentions list. My second honorable mention is Molly Weasley because she is everything to Harry Potter that he had always looked for or hoped for as a child. And Molly is always determined that Harry is most definitely part of their family. And this just really touched my heart because Molly is one of the most giving people in the series, and it is just such a lovely change compared to what Harry grew up with. My next honorable mention is actually from Cursed Child. Even though I don't consider it part of the Harry Potter series, I would love to watch the play one day, but I have read the play, and in it I really connected to one of the characters, and that is Scorpius Malfoy. Scorpius is just this lovely book nerd who just does not fit in with his family. He is just an amazing character, and even if you did not love Cursed Child, I feel like everybody must have loved Scorpius Malfoy as much as I did. My fourth honorable mention is Newt Scamander. Now, I have been obsessed with the Fantastic Beasts series just because the characters and this background story that we are getting, as much as some of it is a timeline flawed, I really just want to see where this goes. One thing I always say when someone starts complaining about Fantastic Beasts is that we need to give J.K. Rowling space and time to finish the series the way she wants to finish it, because I know and I have faith in her that she will close all the loopholes that everyone is so angry about. I think that she does everything for a reason. I did not read the Harry Potter series as it was coming out because I was way too young to be reading it, but I think that as it was coming out, a lot of people were having the same issues with it. I can imagine seeing some things having loopholes in the books, and then finally when the seventh one came out, everything closes together. And I feel like we need to give J.K. Rowling that same space and just let her go all the way to the fifth film, write it all, and we'll see how it all ties together in the end. Me saying this, I do love Fantastic Beasts, and I love Newt Scamander as a character. He is just lovely and so completely amazing. So that brings us to number 1 on the list, and that is Hermione Granger. Hermione is just a lovely character, and I quite like that she does not confine to the stereotypes that people try to force upon her. She is just this lovely bookworm who has rebellious streaks all the time. I mean, she does things and says things and just goes against anything that does not fit within her moral code. I just love that she is this bookworm, because me being a book lover obviously connects quite closely to that bookworm vibe about Hermione. And even though I'm quite a lover of knowledge, just as Hermione is, one way that I do not connect with her is that she is a bit of a goody two-shoes, and I have never been a goody two-shoes. I've always been pretty hard-headed, but I think Hermione can also be hard-headed if anyone pushes against her. She is just an amazing witch, and she is truly one of the brightest witches of her age. I think the friendship group, which is Ron, Hermione and Harry, would have fallen apart long ago if it wasn't for Harry, because he tends to keep everyone together. But I think every single one of them plays a vital role within the friendship and how their friendships form. I think that Hermione is also just amazing in this aspect, because Ron and Harry would most definitely have died books ago if it wasn't for Hermione's intervention. Hermione is just so clever, and she is always saving her friends from trouble. So there we have my top 10 favorite list of characters from Harry Potter. Let me know down in the comments below who your favorite Harry Potter character is, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and have a good day.